I had, I had to actually take a time out from that last video because it was really stained from this shitty X-Files revival that had like 2 or 3 decent episodes or good episodes, but totally retconned everything. Just insulting bullshit. So I want to do my thoughts on the X-Files in general. I remember how I started. It was my aunt Jane sent me a videotape, and the first episode I ever saw was an episode called Darkness Falls, which I'll get to when I talk about it. And really enjoyed it. Really like, I'm like, oh, what's this? This is really cool. What's this about? So, didn't have Fox at the time, but when I got cable, watched a lot of reruns, and then had videotapes of the X Files. My aunt would tape other episodes of the X Files, as well as actual physical tapes that you bought at the store. And my love of it just grew. It's my favorite TV show, which is why I was so loud and angry in that video, because it is my favorite TV show, and to me, they completely fucked it up. People did give all they want the shits that season 8 and 9 did, but I think they were better than season 10. I stand by it. I'm sorry, I stand by it. But going through each one and not going too in depth, otherwise this be hours long. If I look at season 1 and I look at the episodes, I mean, the pilot was interesting, see how it started. Deep Throat, Squeeze. Squeeze I liked. That was Eugene Victor Tooms, a guy that every number of years would come out and kill people because he needed their liver, and he could squeeze into, his hand could squeeze through. He's kind of like an evil version of Mr. Fantastic. It was a great idea. The actor played it well. I know my friend Effrey doesn't like the actor, but he doesn't really talk in these. And I thought he has a good look to him. And it was a great idea for a villain, Squeeze. So much so that later on in the season, he came back for Tooms, which at the end, he got killed because he was under an escalator trying to pull Mulder in. He got chomped up to pieces from the gears in the escalator from underneath. So I liked those two. The Jersey Devil I liked. Sort of nice take on the legend of the Jersey Devil. Ghost in the Machine is just sort of one of the worst ones, but I actually don't mind it because I'm a sucker for artificial intelligence, machines that go haywire. So I was a sucker for that, Ghost in the Machine. Ice was a really good one. That was a take on John Carpenter's The Thing. Paranoia. Only it was just like this little thing that would get in people and affect them and make them more paranoid and delusional. So Ice, that was a really good one. You can tell they did a big ode to John Carpenter's The Thing with that. Fire was a good one. About a guy who could, create fire from the tips of his fingers. Beyond the Sea, that's the one where you had sort of they're old, The Silence of the Lambs, because Gillian Anderson goes in to talk to Luther Lee Boggs, played by Brad Dourif. Brad Dourif did a good job performance-wise in that. And she's trying to find information about another killer. Gender Bender, that was interesting. About something that could change from male to female, just like that. That was an interesting idea. I like that episode. Shapes, that was sort of a werewolf story. I enjoyed that. Darkness Falls, I really enjoyed. That was the first one I ever saw. That's where it's bugs that they don't affect you if the light's on, but if the light's off, they will get you. And Mulder and Scully are in the forest, and they see these big cocoons. They open them up, and it's people dried up as if all their nutrients have been sucked up. They've been sucked dry. And like the little bugs go after them. I always remember that. Really enjoy that one. Roland, that was an interesting one. About a guy who's not the smartest, but maybe an idea of like a twin, I believe, kind of controlled and possessed him from beyond the grave to get revenge. In season 2, the host, yeah, that great creature, the Fluke Man. That point of view going through the porta potty, and you see the Fluke Man's right underneath. Just a great look and design of the creature. Dwayne Barry, I think that's the one played by Steve Railsback, who did a good job acting wise as a guy who says he was a victim of being abducted. Firewalker, I remember liking that one. I'm not sure how to describe it though. It took place in these caves, and something to do like spores, and some people would get affected, and this thing would like come out of their neck and die from that. Irresistible. That's where you had a real creep who liked fingernails and hair and went after Scully. Dehan de Verlitz, dealing with, I don't want to say voodoo, but dealing, the other one, Fresh Bones, that's sort of dealing with voodoo. Dehan de Verlitz, I remember you had the woman who, her eyes would go black and do this, and I guess sort of turn into a snake. Well, I know you had a snake that would, eat people. I'm doing a shade job explaining it, but that's why I would like to rewatch these, but that would take so long. So long, I just don't have the time. Fearful Symmetry, I believe that's the one where animals from a zoo, they disappear and they reappear very, very far away, and perhaps it's dealing with aliens that want to help save the species in some way. Humbug, that was a really interesting one, dealing with a circus, and Mulder Scully looking at all these circus freaks, and someone is killing them one by one. Our Town, I think that's the one where they go into a town and there's a lot of cannibalism involved within the town. I really enjoyed that. Soft Light, I think Soft Light actually had Tony Shalhoub in it. That's sort of like the shadow, something dealing with the shadow, that dark matter. Could be wrong about that, but I believe that was the case. Season 3, D.P.O, that's Darren Peter Oswald. D.P.O was played by Giovanni Ribisi. Jack Black was in this as well. The song Hey Man, Nice Shot, that was the first time I heard it, was in this episode. D.P.O, he liked to play arcade games, and he possessed the power of lightning. And Giovanni Ribisi even kills Jack Black. Clive Brubman's Final Repose, that was a good role for Peter Boyle. More of a humorous episode, that was fun. The List, I really enjoyed that. That's with J.T. Walsh, I believe, was the warden. And all these people at death row, and people are dying one by one, and might be because of a killer who was executed, wanting revenge. I thought that was cool just for the location that they used to take place in a prison. The Walk, that was a really good one, I thought, where you have a guy who has no arms and no legs, and he can astral projection to get revenge. I remember a shot where there's a woman in a pool. You see this figure rise up and grab her and pull her down. War of the Cophrages, aka the cockroach episode. That was a very fun, tongue-in-cheek one. That's one that's hard to explain, but it's just one that I really loved and found very, very funny. Very funny. Same with Syzygy, where that was an episode where you have two girls that anytime they meet, strange things would happen points, and people would act weird, and their attitude would be affected, and that creates some fun humor between Mulder and Scully. And I remember like one kid is behind the bleachers and he gets crushed by the bleachers. So there's humor in it, but it's still a very serious one at times. Grotesque, I really enjoyed that, where it almost got to a point where you wonder if Mulder's going crazy and going mad. Kurtwood Smith was in that, and he's an agent. You find out he's the killer at the end. I remember that having pieces of music that were always my favorite. I could never find it to just listen to by itself. I do a shitty job of humming it, but about how madness affects people. Sorry, this stupid thing. I just thought that was a really interesting episode. Pusher, that was a good one. A guy would push his will to making people do what he wants them to do, which was also in a Russian roulette with Mulder and the guy. Jose Chung's from Outer Space, very over the top, but very funny, very silly. Even have an appearance with Jesse Ventura and Alice Trebek. That was really funny. Quagmire, I liked that because it dealt with sort of a lake creature that might have been like an alligator or crocodile, but there was a lake creature as well. Those are sort of the episodes that come to mind the most. And unfortunately with these, I didn't get the thicker ones. Just the thicker ones have the extra features, but these thinner ones don't. I didn't know that until it was too late, but oh well. And season 4, Home, definitely one of the most intense ones, to a point that many times they would not re-air the reruns. They would not rerun it that much. Sort of a take on Chainsaw Massacre, Hills of Ice type of thing, where the death of an infant with disturbing birth defects and the trail clues lead to a clan of inbred genetic mutants. That was a really intense one. Really enjoyed that. One of the ones that I think of the most. Small Potatoes. That was a little bit of a humorous one. The true birth father of small town babies born with tails turns out to be a chameleon-like man capable of impersonating anyone, including Mulder. Oh, this one was pretty gory. One, Sanguinarian. A series of murders at a hospital lead Mulder and Scully on a trail of a plastic surgeon who may be attempting to extend his own life through black magic. Because he's a plastic surgeon, there's some pretty gory bits. I swear there was one that you could see in like Dr. Giggles where just sucking some like fat and it keeps going, then there's blood. I think that's the episode I'm thinking of. Oh, Leonard Betts. There's that one with the God, what's his name? The guy in RoboCop who he gets melted and then gets hit by the vehicle and explodes. He's in this as a paramedic that can sniff out if you have cancer or something, and he'll want that to eat. He's also capable of regeneration, so if he's like decapitated, his head will grow back. That was an interesting one. That was the episode that we found that Scully had a bit of cancer to her character. Then you have season 5. Detour, really like that one. That's when Mulder and Scully are out in the woods and there's this creature that is camouflage, invisible, and they're pretty much trying to survive and stop this creature. I really enjoyed that one. Postmodern Prometheus was decent. I liked that. Shot in black and white. Sort of a take on the Frankenstein monster. Kind of in a way. But also even references of Cher. I know it sounds weird, but I thought that was an interesting one. Bad Blood, that was a very fun one. Dealing with vampirism and how people can see things in a different way. So that you have one scene from one person's point of view, then you'll see the same thing from another person's point of view, and it's very different. I thought they had a very funny way of doing that. I know I could be more in depth, but I haven't seen these in so long. I really want to watch them, and not to review, just for fun, but it'll take so long. I got so much other stuff to get to. Like season 6, the ones that stick out the most is an armed man infected with a deadly pathogen climbs into Mulder's car and instructs the agent to keep the vehicle in constant motion and in a certain direction. And I believe it also has Bryan Cranston as the guy who kidnaps Mulder and tells him to drive. I liked that one. Dreamland 1 and 2, that was a fun two-part with Michael McKean, where Mulder and Michael McKean swap bodies. Okay, I know that's the season you had Terms of Endearment, that's the one with Bruce Campbell. Monday, sort of a take on Groundhog Day, or even later on Edge of Tomorrow, where a woman tries to alter the outcome of this day that keeps repeating over and over again, where her boyfriend goes into a bank, Mulder and Scully are in there, and the bank ends up getting blown up. The Unnatural, that was one that David Duchovny directed, where a person Mulder knows tells him the story about this alien baseball player who hit amongst an African American team in Roswell during the 1940s. I thought that was actually a well done, thoughtful episode. Field Trip, that was a fun one, where the Mulder and Scully see these two skeletons in this field, and what happens at the end of the day, they realize there's this nice twist where they think they just walked out and everything's fine, but they've actually been dragged down, and this fungus spore type of thing is feeding on them and giving them hallucinations, and they're able to break themselves out and be rescued. I thought that was a really good one. So you have season 7. You had Hungry, which I know that had Judith Hoag from the first Ninja Turtles movie in it. About a guy who worked at a fast food place, but he was also a monster, and he's trying to fight his urge to kill and eat. It was sort of from the point of view of the monster. I thought that was an interesting idea. Millennium, that was fun to watch just because Lance Henriksen got the star as his character from Millennium. Rush, I liked that. Sort of about a kid who can move fast. Or kids that can move fast. Kind of like The Flash. See, I remember liking the Goldberg variation. The Amazing Malini, which was a nice touch on magic. Cyanide Enclosure was the wrap-up to the Boulder's sister. Ex Cops, I had a lot of fun. Mulder and Scully being on an episode of Cops, that was very entertaining. First person shooter, that was a lot of fun. Sort of them being trapped in the video game. Thought that was entertaining. Hollywood AD, that was fun. I think Hollywood was making like a movie or something based on the X-Files, and That was just an entertaining, fun one to watch. And yeah, I would be much more clear, but I haven't seen these in years. And you have season 8. Which I will admit, the last 2 seasons are the ones I watched the least. Because I didn't want to give them a chance, but once I finally did give them a chance, I'm like, you know what? I actually do not mind them at all. I don't mind them as much as I thought I would. What really helped with me was I really liked Robert Patrick. I liked his character, Agent Dodd, so it was really cool to watch it for him. Really cool. Red Room, I remember that being good. Joe Morton was in that. He did a good job with that. I remember not minding the episode Sure Kill. Person who has like expert vision. I'm not sure if it's X-ray vision or some type of expert vision to make a great kill shot. Savage, which was sort of about an Iron Man type of guy made of metal. Medusa, really like that. That's the one where Dahlia was in the subway, and there's this like green glow stuff that if it gets on you and it gets connected in some way, it can electrify and really fuck up your arm and fuck up yourself that's covered with it. I thought that was probably my favorite of the whole year. I actually really want to rewatch this again, now that I think about it. Especially these last 2. Which I don't get a lot of shit, but I'm sorry, I don't think they were that bad, actually. Again, I just remember them the least because I watched them the least, because I was like one of those, oh, fuck that. No Monon Scully, no deal, but Robert Patrick's really good. And I remember liking a lot of those stories. Season 9, I remember the one where a guy, he can sort of create things with his mind, and he's a big fan of the Brady Bunch, so he like mimics that, pretends that they're real for his own amusement, for his own well-being. Remember Burt Reynolds being in one, which was interesting. Again, this is one I would actually like to give another watch so I can get more of a handling on it. Of course, the series finale, which was a trial. Mulder was on trial for murder, in which he told the truth, but apparently it wasn't the truth because the retcon says no, that was bullshit. Fuck you, Chris Farter. But anyway, I just wanted to go through general, give my thoughts on some of the episodes, ones I particularly enjoyed. I mean, I couldn't give a top 10 of my favorites on all the seasons, but just sort of give general thoughts. But anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.